You know, when people involve themselves into cases they don't belong in, people kind of tend to look at them. Like when Michael's wife fell lied on tape about the missing exculpatory evidence. And then he finally says, well, we're only prosecuting you on what you have. And, you know, where's the exculpatory evidence? Come guzzler. That's all it's good for. Yeah, you come guzzler. Just like Joe Miller. I seen them. They only come, I think, once or twice. But they come guzzlers. So anyways, if you remember Keisha Lee, she inserted herself into the case, saying that she was with the people in the house who couldn't see anything. She said she saw me repeatedly opening and slamming the car door. But the two cops and the rest of the copsucker family is outside. They didn't see it. And the two swine, they were within 10 feet of me. They didn't see it or hear it. You lying ass bitch, what you are. Nobody even known about your lying ass bitch. You had kept out of it. So that's what happens when Michael's wife calls you in. Yeah. Well, people have been doing some thinking. You know, like I said, Cops family, 3 generations, ain't worth knowing. Trash. So we done some checking around. Now, Lakeisha Lee and Charles Lee were living in the house where we ran out of gas at. We're living with Charles Fenn, or no, not Charles, Richard Fenn. Richard Fenn, yeah. And his sister, man. Now his sister's what backs this up. You just look at her. This is what backs this story up. You see, Charles Fenn and this ugly ass bitch there that he's pounding are not man and wife. They ain't boyfriend and girlfriend. They're brother and sister. Yeah. Doing married people stuff. And it's already been going on in the family for a while. That's why that face is in there. God, she is ugly. So, of course, now Lakeisha, when she's born, they give all these kids, fake daddies. because they know that it's going to be hard for them to get married, you know, when they got the same name and everybody in the state knows you. So we actually found somebody in the family that's disgusted about what's going on in the family. Yeah. So Charles Lee and Lakeisha Lee are brother and sister. Yeah. In fact, everybody in that group there is brother and sister. And of course, when all this tension came, you know, from this happening and them making a false police report, as I said, that it seemed suspicious that when they shined their flashlight at us, we shined the flashlight back. And they thought that was suspicious enough to call the police. We didn't call the police when they shined the flashlight at us. We just shined the flashlight back and let them know we's okay. And see, they just wanted to stir up some shit to watch his board that night. But we was able to go back 3 generations of that in that family. And it started out, daddy and daughter produced about 4 or 5 kids over the years. And them kids, of course, they introduced kids around 10, 12 years old. They started putting boys and girls sleeping in the same bed. And the next generation that come along is the ones that produced this much. Richard Fan and his, I forget what the hell her name is, but she's an ugly ass bitch, boy. She's all cross-eyed. I don't think she talks too clearly either. I think just kind of a house pet, maybe. Ugly ass bitch. So you get found out, so now they are in the Homer Police Department, but they're a member of the Alaska State Trooper CERT team, Special Emergency Response Team. They're just handy. They get called out on demand. Well, one of the things that they do is when drugs come into Homer on fishing boats and they load them up in vehicles by members of the CERT team will guard the load as it travels into Anchorage for the cartel. Sinaloa cartel is involved with the Alaska State Troopers. And so we got a little insets going on in the Alaska State Troopers. Now, Matt come to me through an email some people that were just listening and all, and they said, well, damn it. Says, I know that family. Richard, Finn, and what other shit, Lakeisha, Richard, Charles, Charlie O. How come you go by Charlie O? Charles Lee. So, Alaska State Troopers don't worry too much about incest in their ranks. Michael's wife will cover it up. Yeah. Like he tried to cover up for Joseph Miller. Brian Glenn. They beat me. Yeah. But Michael's wife, like, he's a dumb jizz licker. Stupid. I got him on tape. I recorded him. Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to add that recording on the end of this. It's interesting. See, that's when you cover things up, like that's why I felt people watch you and stuff. Yeah. See, I was beaten for exercising my right to remain silent. That's part of the exculpatory evidence that they deleted. See, when I said I was going to remain silent, Brian Glenn said, oh no, not until you admit to DUI. Yeah. That's how they work up here. And old wife, he didn't have to get involved in it. He could have gone through the things and, turned it into their own investigators, let them do it. No, he's going to cover it up. Well, you beat me to keep me quiet. But it didn't work. I talk about everything. I talk about my association with the Alaska State Troopers Wives Club, brought me in there by Brian Glenn's wife. Yeah. I tell it all. Bunch of perverts. Yeah, I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story about Joseph Miller. Remember I told they was both sausage suckers? Yeah. They do the 69, boy. Yes, sir, they do. Joe and Mike. But one time, Sarah Miller and Raylan's wife, they'll come into a meeting there one night. They was bringing this boy, looked like he's about 16 years old, and they was hugging up on him, and he was feeling them titties. But I told them they wanted a photographer that night, they're going to have to get rid of him. That's gone too far. I don't mind photographing them. Licking a slit. That's cool, I like that. Licking titties. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So I got another story that's going to be coming up here, probably my next one. It's about a cold-blooded murder. Although they didn't actually witness it, they saw the two people before they heard the screams. They saw the person that left. That person was an Alaska State Trooper. Yeah. So that's going to be my next story. If anybody out there, if you have an experience with the Alaska State Troopers and you don't want to tell it yourself, you can email me, rbodell, RBODELL, at protonmail.com. PROTONMAIL.com. rbodell at protonmail.com. Tell me your story. Nobody has to know where it came from. In fact, when you write me at protonmail.com, I don't even get your IP address. That's something that's cool about Proton Mail. It, like Tutnoda email, they'll take your email address for the purpose of making the email system work, but they don't include your email in it. Okay, and they don't retain it. Now, Proton Mail, they don't even look for a IP address. And therefore, even if they got a search warrant, and by the way, they're outside the United States, American search warrants aren't any good. Even if they did have a search warrant for an IP address, it wouldn't be any good because they never collected that information, so they don't have it to give you. So, oh yeah, it's over in Switzerland too. They got a lot of real privacy stuff in there. You know, you could be plotting out a murder or something like that. You know, if you just got some stories about bad politicians, they don't give a shit. So, if you got a story, you give me a call or drop me an email at rbodell at protonmail.com. I got a couple of good ones coming up. Yeah. Mostly around ones here in Soldotna. We got 3 or 4 that ain't involved in my case. They involved in some crooked ass shit. Yeah, we're going to talk about them and their wives, what they're doing, what their kids are doing. Yeah. Like Brian Glenn's 3 boys. Found out about them through his wife's cousin, who was stealing from me when she was my nurse. She's stealing ours. But yeah, his oldest son there, he's taking after his dad. He's bossing some neighborhood kids around, threatening them with his dad. He's gonna come and arrest their mom and dad. Bunch of 7 and 8-year-olds surrounded his ass one day. He's like 10. Bunch of 7, 8-year-olds found it at us, beat the shit out of him. Took him out in the woods, threw his clothes up on the branch way up in a tree, so he had to climb the tree naked. And then he had to come down without no clothes. He had to slide down that thing, boy. I hadn't heard nothing about him being a bully anymore. Maybe somebody should have done that to Brian, huh? And they caught him and his brother pounding butts. Yeah. Yeah, Brian Glenn, he'll switch sides. Yeah, somebody caught him and his brother on that back in high school. Okay, well that's enough for today. But we're gonna have some cool stories coming up about the troopers. Yeah, if they don't come and finish the job for Brian Glenn, that is. And you got a story, it don't have to be your story. It can be a story you heard from your cousin's, nephew's, brother's, uncle's, next door neighbor's garbage man. I don't care where it come from. Yeah, I'm not afraid to tell you a story. You know, they want to come finish a job, I'll hold still for them. And my suffering, boys, you should not have beat me for wanting to stop talking. Because now I ain't going to stop. Well, that's enough for right now. We'll talk at you later, and Keisha there, you and your brother, Charles, Homer Police Department. Yeah. Y'all give each other a kiss for me.